Hello everyone. So I am back with this new video about 2022 Global Korea Scholarship, and in this video we will be discussing every aspect of the application guidelines which has been released recently by NIIED for undergraduate degrees. So let's dive into the guidelines and explore every aspect, every points of this guideline so that if you understand this properly you will be able to apply for the program carefully. So before starting, let me tell you that this video is going to be a detailed read of the guidelines and explanation. So if you stick with the guidelines, if you stick with the video till the last moment, then you will be able to understand every aspect of this application procedure, and then I am sure that if you fulfill all the requirements, you will be easily getting the scholarship. So let's begin. So this guideline can be downloaded from Study in Korea website, and then once you have this guideline you can just start and explore every aspect, every document requirement. So first we'll be checking out the program objectives, that is just you can give a read and all these things. I'll be basically focusing on the important parts where the students find difficulty to understand that aspect and then work on it. So let's move ahead. So as you can see, there are a number of quotas which is fixed. So as you can see, it's country wise. For suppose I'm from India, so if you talk about India, then they have 3 quotas for embassy track and similarly 3 quota for university track. So yeah, so if you are planning for, so before proceeding more into the guidelines, let me clear this point about regional university thing. So suppose if you're planning for science degree, that is called as bachelor in science, in some bachelor in physics or whatever in related to science major or engineering major or mathematics major. So they can apply for regional university track. So for them university track would be better because in university track natural science and engineering majors are generally preferred. So let's move ahead after clearing this quota stuff, and then we will be looking more into the documents requirement. So the available fields of study and everything, there will be an Excel sheet. You can just download the sheet and you can look all the universities there which are participating in this program, and then what all majors they are offering, so you can check from there. So yeah, for embassy track, as you can see, there are 2 types of university: type A, type B. Type B is the regional university which I was talking about. So this type B is, you can see, where you can apply for science, engineering, natural science majors, and they have total of 60 candidates from all over the world. So these all things are the basic stuffs, and eligibility is also understood that you should not be a citizenship or Korean citizen, and then you can be of any other country. So these things are okay. So yeah, now coming to the one of the important aspect, level of education. So many people get confused about what their level of education should be. So you should be at least completing your high school by the time you get the scholarship. So suppose if you are in pre-high school, like in India we say it as class 11. So if you are in class 11, you can apply only if by the next year, February 28, you will be getting your degree. So I think that's not possible. So if you are currently in class 12, you can apply for it because by next year you will be getting your degree. That is your class 12 mark sheet and certificate. So for that you should be careful enough that if you are in final year of your high school, or if you have passed out this year or last year, or whenever you have passed out, you just have to fulfill the age requirement. So then you can apply for this scholarship. So now the other aspect people ask about is the grades. So as you can see, there are certain requirements, and if you see, there are 3-4 categories of GPAs mentioned, and you need to work on everything. So suppose you are in class 11, you have just passed out, and you are in class 12 and you are waiting for your results. So you can give your results from class 10, 11, and that's all. But suppose if you have passed out 12, also like you have passed your high school, then you can give the results of your class 10, class 11, and class 12. So these three mark sheets you can give. Now, if you talk about this criteria of 80 percentage, then in class 12, that is your final mark sheet, it should be more than 80, or like it should be equal to 80 or more than 80 on a 100-point scale, because generally if I talk about India, then we get percentage here, and it's very easy to calculate whether if you are qualifying this criteria or not. So if you are qualifying this criteria, you are good to apply. And if you are not, then you have to be in top 20 percentile of that particular class of yours, and then you can get a certificate from your school stating that you were in top 20 percentile of this batch. Then you can just apply with the percentage, if you even if you have less than 80%. So there are two things you have to be clear about. If you have more than 80, you no need of top 20 percentile certificate, you can just go ahead. And if you don't have more than 80%, you can just look at the alternative options, that is top 20 percentile certificate, or you can convert your GPA. But I would not recommend converting GPAs, because anyway you have to give your transcript, then they will automatically see what your actual grades are.
Okay.
So just write whatever your GPAs are in the application form. We'll be discussing the application form filling also. So just write whatever you have got in your country, and then give a grade conversion certificate. That usually comes with your transcript. So let's move ahead. And if you see these healths and other stuff, it's just a good read. You can just read it once, and you will be able to understand everything. Now moving ahead, the main thing. Now the main thing you have to focus upon is the required documents. So as you can see in embassy track, you'll have to send 4 copies. That is 1 original and 3 photocopies. And in university track, you will have to send just 1 copy. That is the original one. So that is the difference. So what I suggest usually is that you make an original copy, and you take 3 photocopies of that particular original copies, and then you put every copies in a different envelopes, and you then put all the envelopes in a big envelope, and then you just post it to the embassy. And if you're going for university track, then just make a set of original copies, and then just pack it and send it to that university. So now we will be looking at every documents, whatever is required, and then we will discuss in detail. So the first document is Form 1, that is application form, which contains your basic information. Then second is Form 2, the personal statement. So this is basically a 1-page essay about your background, your family background, your wish to apply for the scholarships, your story. Basically, it's all about your story. Then the Form 3, that is study plan. So here you have to explain a little bit about what you want to study and how you will be studying, and which semester you will be studying what, which courses you are planning to take, what if you're planning to do any internship, on what type of project you will be doing. So it's like a future plan. If you get the scholarship, and if you have made some plans. Suppose since I am a mechanical engineer, so I'll be talking about engineering aspects. So suppose if you're going for mechanical engineering, so you can write in the first year of the engineering, I'll be studying this parts, I'll be studying the basics of mathematics, I'll be studying the basics of engineering, like that. The second year I'll be doing some internships, I'll be covering the basic subjects like thermodynamics and all that things, so you can mention in the study plan. Now Form 4 is the letter of recommendation. You just have to take a letter of recommendation from a professor and just attach it, because this year they only require 1 letter of recommendation, because the last year they were requiring two letter of recommendation, but it's good that they are only needing one letter of recommendation. So this is form 4, and form 5 is just an agreement. Form 6 is just personal medical assessment. So these things are pretty easy to fill in. Now the seventh document, if you see, it's one of the most important document, I would say. Then it's proof of citizenship. So as you can see, the proof of citizenship can be any document which can state that you are citizen of that particular country. So for example, if you belong from a country where you don't have passports because you are minor, that is less than 18 years old, so I will suggest you to attach your birth certificate. Birth certificate is the most most valid document, I would say. So what you can do is that you can take your original birth certificate, make a photocopy of it, and then get it notarized by any lawyer or any public officer, and then he will notarize it, and then you can submit it as an original copy. So birth certificate is the priority number 1. If you don't have that, you can go for some national ID cards, like election ID card, or you can say some insurance card, which can prove that you are a citizen of that particular country. So and if you have family register, like stating that your name, father's name, mother's name, and your address, permanent address, then that will be perfect. So the first priority will be birth certificate, then some national ID card, passport, election ID card, and family register. So these things are important documents. So, but in my personal suggestion, I will suggest you to try for birth certificate and get it as soon as possible. So as you can see here, a simple copy of ID card, that is the driving license or residence card, is not accepted. So basically, to support this, suppose if you don't have birth certificate also, so what you can do is that you can just submit a copy of ID card along with a copy of passport, because passports generally proves the citizenship. So you can attach 2 documents as a single citizenship proof document. So you need this birth certificate. But again, I'll be saying that birth certificate is the most important thing. You can just try to get it from you just need to find out from somewhere. So
Okay.
yeah. Now the certificate of graduation. So if you are a pass out, like if you have cleared your high school and now you're applying for the scholarship, you would already be having your passing certificate or certificate of graduation with you. So all you need to do is that you just have to make a photocopy of it and then get a notarized. So just a Xerox copy and notarized by any lawyer or public officer would be enough. And if you have not graduated yet, so I will suggest you to take a letter of expected graduation. So that basically means is that you should tell your school that they should write a letter on your behalf that you will be graduating by this time, and your current status in the particular school or college. So that can be replaced later on when you get the scholarship. So at the time of application, if you have the final certificate, that's good. But if you don't have it, you can get it a letter of expected graduation from your school or college, and get the principal's sign, get the dean's sign on it with a seal, and that would suffice. Now talking about the 9th document, that is again an important document, that is transcript. So basically, a transcript is a document that is generally issued by your high school. So what is basically considered is that if you are a pass out, that is if you have applying for this scholarship after completing your high school, then you can submit your 10th certificate, 11th certificate, and 12th certificate, and that mark sheet along with that. So that particular mark sheet which you get from the academic boards, that can be considered as the transcript. But if you don't have that, or you are in final year of your degree, then you can submit the transcript up to the last year which you have got. Suppose if you are in a final year of your high school, then you can submit your mark sheets up to class 11, that is class 10 and class 11. So you can get the official transcript from your school or college, or you can just get a copy of it and notarize it. So this is it. And yeah, one important point here I would like to mention is that they have written is that you need you need to convert your transcript on this scale. So if your transcript is not on 100-point scale or 4, 4.3, 4.5 and 5, then you'll have to convert it into this scale. But for India, I would say that all the marks are in 100-point scale, so that would not be a problem. Now, many people are converting their marks on Scholaro. So like last year when I applied for the scholarship, so many my fellow mates were also converting the marks from Scholaro.com, but I didn't because I was having the grade explanation certificate from my university. So, but if you don't have that, so I would suggest you that you can convert on Scholar.com. But after taking the printout, you just need to get approval on that from your university. So suppose if you have grade converted on Scholaro, you just take a printout of that particular thing. You go to your school and then tell your academic advisor or whoever is the authority in person to get a sign and seal on that to approve that this conversion is correct. So and yeah, of course, with the officially issued letter stating that this conversion is correct and the conversion on this particular scale means equivalent to that original marks which you have written on that which has been written on that particular mark sheet. So this is the important aspect of transcript, because transcript is the most important document, because they will be checking this as one of the eligibility criteria, and if you don't fulfill this requirement, they will simply reject your application. So make sure not to fill anything which may create confusion, and whatever you are filling, you have to back it up by giving the proper documentation. So this is the statement I would say. Now the 10th document is proof of age. You can just give a passport copy for this, and then these all 11, 12, these are not required if you're not eligible for this. And then 14, yeah. So document 14 is if you have IELTS score or TOEFL score or TOEIC score, or if you are Korean proficient and you have TOPIK, then you can submit the valid certificates. And by valid certificate, it means that for example, TOEFL and IELTS, they are valid for 2 years. So if you have the score for the duration of 2 years that is not expired yet, you can submit those certificates, get a photocopy and just submit it. And then copy of awards and other certificates. So these things, if you have some extracurricular certificates which are related to your major which you're applying for, like suppose I would say is that suppose if you're applying for engineering and if you have certificates for art and craft or singing, so in my personal suggestion that is not going to help, because they just show that you have participated in some co-curricular activities. But if you have some certificates like science quiz or something which proves that you have some technical knowledge, so that those certificates are going to help. So before selecting the certificate also, you just need to be careful, because many students, what they do is that they submit a lot of certificates and ultimately they don't get selected in spite of having those number of certificates. So I suggest that sort out the certificates. If you have a lot of them, then you decide which all things can be helpful for your application, and then you can submit those photocopies of that particular certificate. And the 16th is applicant's passport copy. So yeah, so these things are all about the documentation. So after having this whole discussion about the documents requirement, we'll be moving to the last section of this video, that is the form filling. And once I'll be telling the form filling, then I think you will be able to start your form filling activity, and then you can complete your application. Now before I proceed forward, there are some important things that you need to know, and these are the important notes regarding documents. So as I was saying that you have to notarize the photocopy of it, so it seems like this year they won't be accepting the notarized copy. So for graduate, like for us, we applied in 2021 this GKS graduate. So for us, they accepted, but it seems like this year they are not accepting it. So as you can see, some important notes regarding the application. I will read that and I'll explain it to you. So for embassy track, as we know, the deadlines will be decided by the embassy, and for university track, each university is gonna decide the deadline, but the final deadline for the university track will be October 20. But some universities may decide up to October 10 only or October 12. So it depends on university, but maximum they can extend up to October 20. So now moving towards the next points, like each embassy policy is okay, these are okay. If university requires additional documents, these are not yeah, so you have to print all the documents. If you are printing or taking up a photocopy or something, then you have to print it on A4 size documents. So you have to make like that. And once you take the prints, like once you have the documents ready with you, you have to label the documents like this as shown here. So what you have to do is that you have to take a cutout of a paper, of a square rectangular paper, and then paste it on the top right corner. Not paste it, I would say, just attach with a paper clip. A paper clip looks like this, as you can see my cursor, the paper clip. So you just attach the label with the paper clip and then move ahead. So this year, as I was saying, that they are not accepting the notarized copy. So I'll show you where is that written. Yeah. So instruction on certificates. So as you can see, we have to submit 3 photocopies and then 1 original. 1 original means 1 consular authenticated or apostilled. So what this means is that either you can get your documents authenticated or attested by the consulate or embassy of Korea in your country, or you have to apostille your documents. So what all documents need to be apostilled, that's another question. So I will come on that right now. So as you can see, all certificate must be authenticated by a consulate or apostille before submission. So as you can see, all certificates, like which all certificates, I'll tell you. So here we were saying the documents required. So the first document which you need to be apostilled is that certificate of graduation. Then you need to apostille transcript or mark sheet, whatever you're giving. Then proof of age if you are giving, and certificate of English or Korean proficiency. If you are giving the photocopy, you have to apostille it, and copy of awards and other certificates. These are not required to be apostilled, so I will not be highlighting this. So only 1, 2, 3, 4 documents, and 5 proof of citizenship, of course. So these documents need to be apostilled. Since proof of age is just a passport copy, so I'll suggest you not to apostille it. So only 4 documents as of now. That is the proof of citizenship, certificate of graduation, transcript, and Korean proficiency or English proficiency. These 4 things needs to be apostilled if you are getting it from the embassy or consulate, or getting it from your Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So yeah, and one more thing that is you have to highlight on this part, that certificates that are only notarized will not be accepted this year. So this is an important point you have to look at, because till last year, till our time, once we applied for graduate scholarship, we were able to give the notarized copies, but looks like NEED has specified this clearly this time in the guidelines, so you don't have to you cannot submit the notarized copy. You have to get it apostilled or consular authentication. Now moving ahead in the next part, that is the form filling and everything. These are all just a simple read. You can just read about the deadlines and everything. So this is not something important, but yeah, if you want to understand the application screening method, then I'll say that you just don't focus on that right now, because right now the most important thing for you first is transcript, because that depends, that transcript or mark sheet, because that, that defines whether you are eligible for this scholarship or not. Then of course the language proficiency, if you have IELTS score, TOEFL score, then it's gonna be adding some values to your profile. If you don't have that, no problem. Then application, personal statement, study plan, your essays, recommendation letter, these plays an important role. And later on, the third part is that awards and other certificates for whatever you are giving in extras. So these are the stepwise evaluation. First they will be checking your transcript, then application, essays and everything, and the final is other certificates like awards and whatever you are submitting. So that's all about the application, what they are giving. And if you look at other aspects, so if it's all about general notes, which is not important, if you want to read, you can just give a read. So I'm just trying myself to explain every aspect of the application, and then once you read all the guidelines, you will be able to understand how this scholarship system works. Now moving towards the application filling part, I'll be explaining each and every forms and how to fill them. So yeah, but before that, as you can see, these are the contact information, and if you have any doubts regarding application or documents you want to ask that whether it is okay for submission or not, you can just directly email kgspniid@korea.kr, and they will be replying within few days. Now moving ahead with the application. So the first thing you can see here is that application checklist. So this is a document which you have to put in front of the document, in front of your set of the documents, and this is just for checking if you have submitted all the documents or not. So as you can see, what all things required here is that you have to write your name, country, and for which program you are applying, bachelor's degree or associate degree. And if you are submitting for university track, then it's like you have to select yes, because obviously you will be selecting yes here. And here you can see officially notarized translation. So if you are giving translated documents, since in many countries the documents are not in English or Korean, so you have to get it translated. So if you are giving this translated document, then you have to select yes, or otherwise not, then you have to select no. How to put that comments, I'll show you. So as you can see here, a tick mark is there, so you can just put tick mark in there. Okay.
6.5 hours later.
Yeah. So you just need to just drag it here, yes or no, whatever you are submitting, just take yes and no. So this is the way of filling it. So you can do that. And also one important thing is here is that you don't have to fill this column. That is the I'll show you these things. You don't have to fill it. So you leave these things blank. You start with the first option, that is the name of the applicant, and then just tick yes or no, whatever you are submitting. Now the first form 1. As you can see, which track you are applying, you just have to select it. Suppose you are applying for embassy track, you select embassy, means check mark, that is using this check mark option. You can just directly drag in here. You can use any editing software, like I'm using Foxit Reader, so you can use Foxit also. Then you can select general, or which if you are a general candidate, you can select general, or if you are applying for university track, you can select regional university, because there is only regional university option in university track. So of course you'll have to select this one. Then you have to write your name and everything. So name, you can write this is your last name and this is the first name, write according to your passport. Then date of birth, country, just paste a photo. But regarding photo, I will suggest you that you take the printout first and then paste the photo. You don't paste any digital photo here, because then again you'll have to take a color printout. So I'll suggest you to take a printout, then paste a photo on it. So all these options you can fill here easily. It's not much of it. And then moving ahead, you can fill your graduate school, that is your last school which you have attended or attending. And then language abilities, if you have topic you can fill it or leave it blank if you don't have. English proficiency also, if you have IELTS then you can write IELTS here, like IELTS or TOEFL or whatever you have, then the score. And then awards, if you have, then you can mention about the awards. Then for embassy track you have to select 3 universities. So for choice 1 and choice 2 you have to select university you can select university from either type A or type B, but for choice 3 you can only select from type B. So, and field of study from that Excel sheet which is available on the website, then department, and all the options you will get in the Excel sheet, so you can just fill it here. And for university track, since only one university is needed, because you can only apply to one university in university track, so just write the name of the university, that's it. Now moving towards the next part, that is the school, that is the which school you have attended recently. So if the school is same from your class 10 to class 12, so you can just write one period, like from class 10 to class 12, just one period, like 3 years or 4 years, whatever you want to write, and then school and then country. Now this is the most important part where the students are getting confused, like how to fill this. So I'll suggest you, since there are 3 years mentioned, so that's why I am telling from the beginning is that you need 3 years mark sheet. That is, here you can write 10th mark sheet, then 11th, and then 12th. So and since you get your mark sheet every, either you get it half yearly or final mark sheet, then I'll suggest you to write your GPA if you have it, like 9.6 out of 10, whatever you have. Or if you have percentage, you can write percentage like 85 out of something, out of 100. So this is a way of writing it, 85 and then 100. So now you just have to arrange it, position it properly so that it looks good. And yeah, so this is the way of filling this marks and all. So 10th, 11th and 12th. Suppose if you are in final year, that is 12th right now, and you don't have these mark sheets, then you can leave this blank but mention 12th here and give your expected graduation certificate and fill your 10th and 11th mark sheet. And here this is the most important thing, percentile, as you can see. So if you have to mention the percentile of the final marks, whatever you have. So suppose if you have the marks up to class 11, you have to, and suppose it is around 92, then you can fill it 92 here out of 100. And if you have it for class 12, and then you can directly fill it for class 12. So whatever you have to fill here is at the final marks you have to fill here. So this is all about the marks filling. Then moving ahead, these all things, if you have it, you can just write it, and then you have to mention date and your name, and then signature. For writing name, you have to mention your surname first and then given name. So you have to write like this. Moving ahead to the form 2, that is personal statement. So this is basically a story about you. What was your motivation for this program? Explanation of your family and your personal education background. Then whatever experiences you have. So you can make it look like a story in just one page, because that is recommended. But if you see the guidelines, they can be extended up to 2 pages. So it all depends on you. So as you can see, yeah, so as I was saying, it can be make it into 2 pages. So you can make it into 2 pages if you have too many things to write. But my personal suggestion would be to be within the word limit of 1000 to 1500 words. So this is what my personal suggestion is, because last year I also wrote the same thing, and I got the scholarship. So yeah, basically this is a standard word limit for any personal statement, so you can write accordingly. And if you are writing your essays, you can remove these parts in the word document, means in the word document of the form, and you can directly start with the essay. Now the study plan I was saying, so you can write up to 3 pages as it is said here in the guidelines. So first is the language study, because you will be spending your 1 year as a language student in Korea. So you can just write about how are you learning Korean right now before coming to Korea, and how you're gonna plan your studies in Korea for studying language. So you just have to make a good study plan for language, like which all things you'll be learning first, like alphabets, then vocabularies, then grammar. So you have to mention everything point by point, so it looks good. Then your detailed study plan about your major, what you're going to select. Suppose if you're going for mechanical engineering, like I was telling in the beginning of the video, so you have to explain every part of it, like which all subjects you want to take, and what are you going to study, and what you expect from that particular subject, these things. And then future plan after study, like once you graduate from that particular university in Korea, then what are your plans, if whether you're going for higher studies or just you want to go for a job in Korea. So whatever you have plans in your mind, you can just explain it, and you can explain it such a way that it looks decent, as well as it doesn't discontinue in between. So it all the personal statement or study plan, it should be like a story. Someone is reading a story about you. So these all are my suggestions. And then for form 4, I'll suggest you what to do is that you have to take a printout of this document after filling your name and given name, nationality, and major what you are planning to do. Suppose mechanical engineering, and then bachelor. So once you take a printout of this document after filling it, you just give this whole form to your professor or your teacher. Then your teacher is going to fill his name or signature and everything, and along with this document, along with this form 4, he will be attaching his own letter writing about yourself, like recommending you, and then attaching both the things, like his letter and this form 4, and then sealing those things into an envelope, and then signing on the flap of that envelope. So everything is mentioned here, as you can see. So what you have to do is, I'll tell you again, is that you have to fill the upper part by yourself. Then you just take a printout of this, you just give it to your teacher or professor. He'll be filling his details. Along with his details and signature here, he will be writing a letter to you, addressed to GKS or need, whoever you want to address, writing about these things, like how long the professor knows you or the teacher knows you, and what is the relationship and all that thing. He can write in a separate letter. Then you can attach both the letters. You can staple both the letters and put both the letters, means that letter and form 4, in that envelope, in a one envelope, and then close the flap, and then take a sign and seal on the flap also. So this is the perfect way of taking the recommendation. For embassy track, since you need 3 copies of it, so before putting into the envelope, what you can do is that you can just take this original, like once the professor fills it, signs it, you make 3 photocopies of it, and then after making 3 photocopies of every documents, like this form 4 and his letter, that his personal letter given to you, after taking 3 photocopies, you just put all the 3 photocopies in 3 different envelopes, and then take the sign on each flaps and sign and seal. So this is the perfect way of taking the recommendation letter. Now form 5 is just about your agreement. You can read it, and then you can just sign it below, and then you can select agree, and then sign your name, write your name, and then signature and everything. There is no big thing here. and this is just personal medical assessment. You can just write yes or no, and if you have yes, you can explain. Then yeah, so that's it. That's all about the forms. Now this conversion table is not necessary actually. If you have, I'll suggest you whatever marks you have, you just write in your particular scale, and then along with that mark sheet you just attach a grade conversion certificate or a scholar or conversion certificate approved by your university or your college or your school. So yeah, this is all about the form which this is all about the forms which I was telling you, and the whole guideline has now been explained. And I think this year the guideline is overall same like previous years, but there has been some changes. Like you can't submit notarized copy. You only have to go with apostilled or consular authenticated. And then other things like mentioning about the marks and transcript. Whatever is required, it's same every year. So this is just a general overview of the guideline, and if you have any doubt in this application form, or if you want a personal suggestion on what you have to write in study plan or personal statement, then you can directly message me on Instagram, and I'll be happy to help you guys. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I hope it helped you in understanding this guideline better. And I think once you understand this guideline better, you can start working on your essays. And once the essays are complete, just you can go collecting your documents, all the documents required, and then make a good set of document and then submit it to whichever university or embassy you are planning to. So yeah, all the best for that. I'll be giving my Instagram link here in the video and in the description as well. You can just message me or ask me whatever questions you have further. I'll be glad to help. And then yeah, thank you for watching, and subscribe to my channel if you found this video helpful. Yeah, thank you.